And on behalf of the Flint Township Fire Department, we've prepared this small trophy monument award. You made it to the finish line. You put in 28 years with us. Faithfully, served residents, citizens, businesses. It's not always always easy. And, just like a thank you on behalf of the entire department and the community for all of your help to our department over the years. Congratulations. Two hands, right?
Guys, keep together close.
Did you have anything you wanted to say?
We'll get a picture real quick.
Okay.
Tom was all ready for a picture, so.
All right, smile. Thank you.
And I would like to say that it's been an honor to serve the Flint Township Fire Department and work with some of the greatest people on this earth. Firefighting is a dedication of love and service to your fellow person, and I think that's the service there is. And I wish everybody here the best of luck in the future. I think the department's in excellent hands, young, fresh new leadership, and I look forward to seeing where it's going. And haven't seen the last of me. I'll stop by from time to time to check in to see it progress. So thank you very much. It was always open. I have my family's here, wife and kids and my mother. Come on up. They're thrilled.
Yeah.
They're looking forward to this. They're looking forward to this.
So you might have to tell us that that's your son because he's a
Somebody's got way better hair than I do. This is my son Ethan, my daughter Emma, my wife Angela, and my mother Bobby.
Thank you very much for sharing Jason with us all these many years. Alrighty. So we're going to picture this.
What we look at.
Happens in the state.
So I know you want to take a picture with all the firefighters, and then we'll take a break because we've got some refreshments for everybody to enjoy. So come on.
Wow, guys. Firefighters come on. If you want to, up to you. Whatever you want to do. If you want to picture.
Right. Did they?
Your call.
Yeah, she said she was
in front of you.
I'd like to call the meeting back to order, please.
No, unless he doesn't.
He does. Ask for that vote.
We all set? So let's go back here to, we just gave a proclamation to Captain McClanahan. We need to vote to approve that proclamation, please.
We
A
would-
motion- Thank you.
Clee would move that we accept the proclamation presented by the supervisor and the chief of the fire department for the retirement of Captain Jason McClanahan.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second. Go ahead.
Alrighty, is there any, does anyone have anything to say?
Doesn't matter.
Any? Does anyone want to say anything on the motion?
If I may,
Yes.
just, great kid, played a lot of softball for Flint Township Fire Department and Police Department together with him, as well as watched him do what he did. And he's going to be missed, but like you said, he'll be around.
Yep, we wish him all the best. And like you said, kid, Manya was asking me, boy, he looks awfully young to be retired. Anyhow, all those in favor of approving the proclamation signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Alrighty. So I didn't hear any objections to adding that agenda item, but I think that you want to have a vote, somebody? So
I
we'll-
just have a question. Wasn't that put on the meeting for last
It's a
time?
different motion, so we're adding the motion to hire one full-time rental inspector. That's the agenda item. I'll make that motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Support?
This is to add it to the agenda.
Right.
Any discussion?
When, who, I mean, did they interview? We don't even know anything about it.
Well,
Kinda like
we'll
the
talk
blind
about it when we
sign.
get to.
Okay.
Well, nothing like, same thing as last meeting, so.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Favdor,
No.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, no. Trustee Clee
Yes.
and Trustee Burt.
Yes.
So we'll add it to the agenda. Now we go on to approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes from September 6th? Any corrections?
See any?
Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the September 6th meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those stand approved. We'll go on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium. You just need to give your name, you don't need to give your address, and you'll have 4 minutes to address our board.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Pam Luna, 4040 Moulton Drive. I came up tonight to talk about Advance Auto, who is on my corner of Bristol and Moulton. Ever since they came there, they did a lot of landscaping to block my house from their business and for privacy for me. For years now, I have asked them to maintain their property. There was weeds as tall as the pine trees, this big around. The other trees were diseased. They needed to be taken care of. Some trees needed to be cut down because they were adjacent to my fence and coming over into my property when that wasn't what was on the plan site for that part. Including my neighbor. So I had asked quite a few times to have somebody come out and look at that. So I finally, once I retired, I had a little time on my hands. So I had decided to call up here. I talked with Stuart, and a week later, Stuart came out to my home, knocked at the door. Well, he had made an appointment with me, and he walked the property with me. Because the other people that would come out and look at it, they didn't get out of their car, and they didn't even really realize that that property ran behind my house and my neighbor's house. And so I showed him what I was talking about, and so after our discussion, he had went over to Advance Auto and talked with them, and that was on a Monday. And on Wednesday, everything that him and I discussed and about all the diseased trees and everything, they had taken care of it by that Wednesday. So I'm just here to thank Stuart for following up and listening to what I had to say and my neighbor had to say. So I just wanted you to know that, because a lot of times that don't happen. So, because we have trouble with Advance Auto with their alarm. It goes off every single night. We would call up there and to see, what was going on or whatever. The guy lived all the way in Otisville, couldn't get it turned off, so I just started calling the police every time it went off, and they would come every single night, sometimes 2 times a night, and now that has stopped also. So I wanted to thank these guys, thank the building department and Stuart for taking care of that over there.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Ready?
My name is Gerald Roberts. I've lived in the township for over 50 years. What I have to say tonight affects each and every one of you in this room and in the state of Michigan. There's a war right now going on against good and evil, difference between right and wrong. The governor of this state, Gretchen Williams, is sponsoring a bill that would be on the November ballot. It is proposal number 3. This bill, which is sponsored by the Michigan Democratic Party and the Planned Parenthood, with over $10 million being put into advertising to promote it. The bill allows for abortions up to 1 minute prior to birth, where the fetus's brain is sucked out till he is dead. This is murder, outright murder. In the Bible, Jesus talks about this. Someone who harms one of these little ones, it would be better that a millstone be dropped around their neck and it be put to the bottom of the sea. A vote on this proposal, number 3, is your vote to allow the murder of unborn children in the state of Michigan. Everyone in this room has to die and will face the judgment day. When the Almighty asks you how you voted on proposal number 3, what will your answer be? Gretchen William Whitmer stated she will fight like hell for this bill. My answer to the governor is, we will fight like heaven, not hell. This bill is written by Satan. The bill also allows children to take body-changing drugs without parents' consent. It also allows, in other words, for up to 15-year-old to have a sex change. They don't tell you in this bill. Good and evil. How will you vote? Dan Kildee voted for a similar bill in Congress, which was defeated. Dan, what will your answer be on Judgment Day? Folks, you have a choice. Your particular Democratic Party, and I look around and I see many, many Democrats in here. It's been a Democratic township where the Democratic Party is led by a few liberal, and I say real liberal. They want to take God away. They want to take the family away. They want open borders. To date, there's over 4 million that have went across that border. The methadone, or whatever you want to call it, 300 a day are dying because nobody in Washington is paying any attention to this. The red state governors are now sending to sanctuary cities, but they don't like that. It's okay to keep them down in Texas and in Las Vegas and Arizona. But boy, don't bring them up in our state. Don't bring them to Martha's Vineyard. There's an equal justice system in this state, in this country. The difference between a Republican and a Democrat. Hunter Biden can go free all these other people. Hillary Clinton can have a computer with social. She can wipe the computer clean. Nothing happens to her. But let it be a Republican, and the justice system is changed. The FBI and the justice system and the Justice Department is not fair. It's not good, and God needs to step in.
Thank you, Mr.
There's a
Roberts.
saying, and then God stepped in. He will. He's in charge.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Dave Huffman. I was just following up at the last board meeting when I brought to the attention the property on Flushing Road, the 5105, which is on the Genesee County Land Bank. If we had a chance to address that yet, or what's going on with that, or?
Well, we can talk after the meeting.
Yeah, I know, but I just would like to, know what's going on, because I came by there again the last couple of days, and it's just a disaster ready to happen. It's really bad. It's dangerous too, because like I said before, there's electrical wires hanging up over the house. You've got a real nice professional building with Dr. Black, my dentist, down there, right across, from the driving range. I mean, it's just crazy. You see a real nice part of the township, in my neighborhoods over there, and all these nice neighborhoods, and then you look like you're in Bosnia. It's just incredible, the contrast. And people in my area that know me down there are starting to ask me more and more about it too. So I'll talk to you afterward.
That sounds good.
Then I got one other thing too. I guess maybe I should apply for the part-time ordinance job in my part of the township, because I was down on Flushing Road the last couple of days, and the property, I think it's Hatherley Road, that backs right up to our fire station over there. Right next to our fire station, where the parking lot used to be, because we used to vote over there, right adjacent to the township, there's another piece of property I saw there. It looks like there's campers, there's junk cars, there's junk strewn all over the lawn. And the contrast, somebody coming down to our professional buildings, if you didn't know anything about Flint Township, just coming down there and taking a look at that, you would say, man, what is going on in Flint Township? And it just seems like, I guess you keep your eyes open, and I've lived out here for a long time. When you see stuff like that, and it reflects on our neighborhoods, and it reflects on everybody in the township, that's why I bring it to the attention, because we have to start addressing some of these problems, because if you don't, and you let it go for a long period of time, as everybody knows, that starts affecting everybody in the township, their neighborhoods, property values, people coming into the township to see that kind of stuff. We've just got to, we really got to be diligent and start addressing that stuff. That's the only thing I got.
Dave, that might be a house scheduled for demolition if it's a land bank house. There's a demolition that's supposed to occur on Hatherley, so we'll look into that too. We'll talk later.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else like to speak during public comment? No? One last time? Well, then we'll move on to reports. I don't have a report this evening. Madam Clerk, do you have a report this evening? Madam Treasurer's not here. Are there any trustee reports this evening?
I got a couple things. The senior center this Wednesday is having flu and COVID vaccines, and that's going to be from 11 to 1. Okay, so the 21st at the Carmen Ainsworth Senior Center, they're going to be giving out, the Genesee County Health Department's going to be there. Also on Thursday, the 29th, is Shred Day for seniors. It's free, and that is from 10 to 1. So it's the 29th, and that is a really valuable thing to have here. So you can just drive up, and they will ask what senior center you're associated with. So, and then the free eye care clinic. We did have that doctor come not too long ago, and okay. So that's again on Tuesdays from 9 to 1. It's by appointment only. And it's at the St. Luke New Life Center on Lawndale, and you can call and make an appointment. That's it.
Thank you very much. It's very helpful. Any trustee reports this evening? Any further?
Just that the trunk or treat will take place on October the 30th from 3 to 6, Shea Automotive. We're looking for volunteers. So if anyone's interested, please let myself or Tracy know.
Thank you. Anything this way?
Yes. A couple of things. I'm going to jump on the Carmen Ainsworth hat. We won't hear about it by the time the next board meeting. It will have already happened. However, the parade, everyone to recall that on the 30th, Van Slyke Road will close at 4 p.m. It'll close at 4 p.m. at Bristol Road. Van Slyke will be closed all the way to Maple Road in Flint Township, and Mundy Township will have, and Chief, don't let me step on you, but I want to reiterate that Mundy will be closing Van Slyke on the south side of Maple, and Maple on the west side of Van Slyke for traffic in that direction coming off from Hill Road. Maple will then also be closed all the way down to the entrance to the middle school, as the parade will begin at 4:30 and should be into the property. The number of entries at this time, it should be in there, and the road's back open by 5:30 or a little before. Game is at 7 that evening, homecoming game. Also, Monday of that week, which would be Monday the 26th, if you haven't seen one in a long time, 6 o'clock at the middle school at the stadium will be the annual Powder Puff game. That game is going on 45 years that it's been in the district. So both of those will be,
You playing that game?
I announced that game. I don't play in that game. The girls play. And yes, I'll be announcing the Monday game and the Friday game, but I always like to make sure you're aware the road will be closed at that time from 4 o'clock to 5:30. Those of you snickering in the audience, thank you for the smiles. I'm done.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am.
We'll move on to staff reports. Chief Salter, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Thank you. Since our last board meeting, your police department responded to over 1,200 calls for service in the last 14 days. That included 4 shots fired calls, 2 shootings, 65 domestics, 68 disorderlies, and 50 unknown trouble calls. In addition to the heavy call volume, we also made over 188 traffic stops, 46 business checks, and 26 residence checks. The 2 shootings that we had in the township, one shooting was in Myrtle Grove Trailer Park. The suspect fired 2 shots into the trailer, striking the victim 1 time in the butt. That case is still under investigation. And on Saturday, we had a homicide in Sunridge Apartments. There was an altercation between 2 parties, which resulted in gunfire. A 29-year-old was shot. He was transported to a local hospital where he was later pronounced deceased. And a 32-year-old subject was taken into custody and lodged at the Genesee County Jail. That case will be presented to the Genesee County Prosecutor's Office for review when the investigation is complete. On a lighter note, Lieutenant Wangler and Officer Chiza went to the annual Empty Bowls event held at the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan. This is one of the events that we look forward to going to every year representing our township. This Saturday on the 24th, we are participating in the annual Touch a Truck event along with numerous other police agencies. This event will be held at the U of M parking lot between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. It is an event designed to build relationships between police and the Flint community. And right now we're starting to plan on having a community engagement meeting, or crime watch meeting as we used to call it, on September 27th. Start looking at our Facebook page for more information. I do not have any items for the agenda.
Thank you. Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last regular board meeting on September 6th, we responded to 44 calls. Some highlights over the past couple of weeks. On the 9th, we responded to a structure fire in the 2000 block of Noble Avenue. Fire crews arrived to find 1 apartment fully involved in fire. A lot of work there. A lot of work that had to be done to make sure all the hot spots that were out on that were in that fire. No injuries were reported, and we were assisted heavily in that incident by the police department. We had some issues out there with maintaining our perimeters. Also, we were assisted by Swartz Creek, Mount Morris, Mundy Township, and Grand Blanc Township Fire Department. So, a lot of work out there, long evening, but everyone worked hard. On the 11th, we hosted a leadership summit at Fire Station 1. We had an instructor here from the San Jose, California area. Put on a free class to Genesee County firefighters. There was about 15 people here total, and 5 of our fire officers attended that class also. So, great event. We were happy to have it here. On the 18th, we responded to a structure fire in the 2000 block of Fredonia Street.
Crews arrived to find fire through the roof in a mobile home at that location. Cause of that fire is still under investigation at this time. We did receive assistance from Mount Morris Township on that incident. Over the past few weeks, we've noticed an uptick in vehicle fires. One of note was yesterday at the corner of Linden and Lennon. We were out there for quite some time. That was a interesting fire where the gas tank wanted to be problematic for us and was on fire on top of it. We ended up having to cut a hole inside of the vehicle to extinguish that fire. So not every fire just goes out the way we want it to. That one was a little interesting. So just wanted to mention that one today. And then this morning we held a swearing-in ceremony for our two new full-time firefighters. We welcomed them, and they began their training process today with Assistant Chief Rowley and myself. Over the next 3 to 4 months, we'll be preparing them to be ready to work on their own and prepare them for solo duty. So they're doing good so far. They made it through day one. And as a reminder, we have our first annual fire prevention open house Sunday, October 2nd from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock right here at Fire Station 1. We welcome everybody in the community to come out. We'll have a lot of fun events, a lot of things going on. So please come and join us Sunday, October 2nd, 1 to 4. And we have one action item on the agenda this evening.
Thank you. Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report for us this evening?
I don't have a report this evening, but I have several items on the agenda.
Yep, alrighty. John, did you want to give a report from the road advisory?
Wonderful.
Good evening, John Whiteside, Secretary of the Road Advisory Committee. And we met earlier today about this year's projects. Mike Pfeiffer did a call-in. He was not able to attend the meeting, but here's what I have. The projects we have planned this year, a couple of them we're not going to be able to do due to costs. First of all, we have Mackin and Concord, and according to Mike, that should start the first part of October. He said first part to mid-October. So that's Mackin from Lavelle to city limits, and then Concord runs off of Lavelle back to the mobile home park. Lavelle Road, that should also start about the same time. There are we got two different companies doing those, but there are some issues with the Lavelle Road. Came in about $100,000 higher than what we projected it would be. And Mike is looking the bids over. There's some things he's changing to try to work within those numbers. One of them is the manhole covers along Lavelle. He had in the bid to replace them, and that cost alone is a good chunk of that, $100,000. So one of the options is just not doing the manhole covers, which is something we could do, but they are, I believe Supervisor Miller and Mike is trying to get the county to cough up funds to cover those manhole covers so that part could be done. Ramsgate was the other one that's down here off of Calkins, was one that we had put in the plan to do this year. And in investigating that, they have some real water issues that need to be fixed, the drainage issues on that street. So it wouldn't make sense to do the street and not fix the water issues. So that one is going to be most likely pushed off to next year. The River Valley cross tube and resurfacing, that's been something we've been after a couple of years. That's also going to be pushed off. Mike recommended moving both of those into next year's. Hopefully the costs will be down from what they are this year because all the costs seem to be elevated. We then discussed possible 2023 road projects. Many of these we've talked about in the past. So along with the Ramsgate and River Valley, if they are pushed off to next year, we've looked at Trotwood, that was brought up. We've looked at Shady Hill Court, Calkins and Dye Road intersection. There's been issues at that intersection. Fleckenstein and Norkel is some other that we have discussed. We have other areas that we have talked about in the past, but we got to formulate a plan, give it to Mike so he can come up with rough estimates, and then we can pursue next year's budget by his estimates and see where we could go with that. The last thing I got is by our bylaws for the Road Advisory Committee. Article 3.1 says we should have 9 members. 1 is a township supervisor and 8 additional members. We actually are 1 member short. And so we would like to have another new member. If anybody on the board or any resident knows of anybody who'd be interested in being a Road Advisory Committee member, just let the supervisor know. That's all I got.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to number 9, is the payment of bills. There's a resolution in here from the treasurer to pay the bills. Would anyone like to make the motion?
Clee would move to accept the resolution presented and the acknowledgement of distribution of funds per the treasurer's submission.
Is it, well, let's include the amount. It's $69,160.58. Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, roll call please on paying the bills.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
And Trustee Fabro?
Yes. Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any correspondence or informational items?
No, not at this time.
Okay, so, we'll move on to action, new business, action item A. Mrs. Tucker, did you want to say anything about, the IFTT exemption, or we just?
This is the public hearing for Printcom, which is located on South Dye Road, just south of Lennon Road. They've been there for a little over a year, I think. Mr. Naughton is here, who is the owner, if anybody has any questions. You have the public hearing, and then item B is voting on the resolutions and the letter of agreement. He is looking at expanding
Okay, so right now for action item A, we're gonna set the public hearing. Looks like it's gonna be for September 19th.
Yeah, that's today. We're holding the public hearing
It
today.
is, isn't it? Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Opening it.
So, we'll open up, let's see, what time is it? 6:47, we'll open up the public hearing for the IFT, Industrial Facilities Tax Exemption Certificate. If you'd like to speak on that for Printcom, you can come to the podium and give us your name and address, and you'll have 4 minutes to speak about the this exemption. Anyone? One more time, does anyone want to speak on, in the public hearing for the exemption for Printcom?
Can I say something?
You come to the podium?
Sure.
Thank you.
I've never been here, so.
That's fine.
I was hoping he would.
So I just want to tell you a little bit about what we're trying to do at Printcom.
Can you give us your name, please?
Kevin Naughton, and I'm the owner of Printcom, 3040 South
Yeah.
Dye Road. We actually took possession back in November of 20, and we moved in last May. And like what's been happening, honestly, is nothing short of miraculous. We set a goal about 2 years ago of, you can go on our website, this is all spelled out, of trying to increase employment levels by 6 times in 10 years, just because we think the Flint area could use jobs, and there's causes we want to give to. And at the point we set the goal, we had 59 employees. We've got 8 new people starting next Monday, and we'll be at 115, from 59 to 115 in a little over 2 years. Like the last thing I thought we'd be doing is adding onto the building, like when we moved in last May, but we grew by 30% last year, and we're gonna grow by another 30% this year. And next year looks like more of the same. So we're just like super thankful for what's going on, and just appreciate all the help we've had.
That's excellent, and we know you're busy over there because you've been, we've had some interaction with
Yeah.
our building department, and some of the neighbors can hear how busy you are over there.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you being a business owner who cares about the community and wants to be a good neighbor, and we just really want to thank you. We're glad that you're here, we're glad that you're expanding, and wish you all the best. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I think we've solved the noise thing. We
Yes.
basically moved the cotton pick and vacuum inside our building. Like, yeah, like I like to sit on my deck and drink a cup of coffee and watch the birds, so like I get it why other people like to do that too.
And those
so,
residents were very grateful, and you were very gracious to work with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was huge. That was huge.
So if there's no one else who wants to speak during the public hearing, we'll close it at 6:49. And a motion would be in order to adopt the resolution and letter of agreement to grant the industrial facilities exemption certificate for real and personal property located at 3040 South Dye Road for Printcom as presented.
Clee would move that we accept the application as presented for the IFT. the time frame necessary and the dollars represented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions or discussion? Anyone? Thank you for being here. So, Madam Clerk, roll call please on approving the resolution.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdo?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes. So I'm looking for
E.
lost in the paperwork.
That was B.
Oh, so the first one was a public hearing. So
Right.
Oh, that's right.
Our-
Okay.
our documents in here are a little confusing. So we move on to C, is let's see. We're setting the public hearing for 10-3, right?
Yes, for items C and D, these are both for John P. O'Sullivan Distributors. And it's for two different properties within the Industrial Development District. Sean Butler is here from John P. O'Sullivan if you have any questions for them. This is just setting the public hearing, and they are also expanding and building new. So,
Do you want to come to the podium?
Market,
real
please.
quick? So today we're only going to set the public hearing, but
Correct.
can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Sean Butler. I'm the Chief Operating Officer over at John P. O'Sullivan Distributing.
And I know that you have a good working relationship with Tracy Tucker, and on behalf of the board, we just want to say thank you very much for hashing out all the details on your expansion. I know there was a lot of hurdles to and obstacles that you engaged with the Drain Commission and the retention pond. And that could have been so costly that you guys would have moved. But you've decided to stay in the township, and for that, we're very grateful. And I wanted to recognize that. I wanted to thank you for working with Tracy to get that hashed out. So thank you very much. We're going to set the public hearing, and you'll be here at our next meeting then?
Okay.
Alrighty, so
you.
thank you very much for being here. So a motion is in order to set the public hearing and to put that certificate, to vote on that at the next meeting.
Clee would move to set the hearing for, and I'm going to make a assumption it would be October 3rd.
Yes.
And during our regular but scheduled meeting of that day.
There a second to the motion?
Support.
All those in favor of setting that public hearing for October 3rd, and then the motion will come before the board to grant that exemption, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That stands approved. Action item E is a request for approval to hire clerical 3, level 3 position
Oh,
in the.
we need to vote on the other IFT.
Oh,
Letter D, sorry.
let me find it.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
The second IFT,
I
there were
skipped-
two of them.
I skipped right past it.
A motion would be in order to approve that?
Clee would move to accept item D, the IFT for, again, 4047 Marketplace 2022, and the tax exemption request on their part as well.
Is there a second to the motion? Or any questions or discussion? No?
Good.
Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please do the roll call on approving that exemption certificate resolution?
Oh, it's just the public hearing.
Public hearing, we don't need to.
On October 30th.
2 public hearings.
Yes, yes.
That's
So
right.
I'm completely confused up there.
Sorry. Sorry.
I thought we were doing it all.
It's confusing because they look all the same on
Right,
the
but I put them
paperwork.
together. I thought we could do the motion for the public hearing and the certificate, exemption certificate resolution at the same time. That's why when you said that, I thought we were doing that on the 3rd. So this is also for the 3rd,
Yes,
which is what I thought in the first place.
right, right.
So all those in favor of putting that on October 3rd's meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So that goes to October 3rd also. Now we're on to action item E. The request to approve hiring clerical level 3 position in the treasurer's department. Does anyone want to speak on that?
I will.
Go ahead. You were in the interviews, yeah.
Over a week ago, Lisa Anderson, the treasurer, and Kevin McIntyre, our finance director, and myself, we interviewed for this position. It's a full-time clerical union position. It went very, very well. We had 4 people that we interviewed. It was very close. It was really, really close. We had some good candidates that came in, but I think that Tammy Thompson is the one that we chose to reach out and offer her the job. She accepted, and she can come in here October 1st.
So we'll finalize that. Would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make the motion to hire Tammy Thompson for the full-time clerical 3 position in the Treasurer's Department, and she will be on a 120-day probation.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support. Okay, Carol.
Any questions or discussion? I just wanted to preface that by saying that we said goodbye to the clerical 3 that was in there. Tunisia, she left, was that mid-August?
2 months ago now, month and a half.
I'm not sure exactly. Anyhow, so now with this hiring, we'll have 2 full-time employees in the Treasurer's Department compared to 3. We used to have 3 in there, and I think that she'll be a good addition. Anybody else have anything to say before we take a vote? Madam Clerk, roll call please on the motion to hire Tammy Thompson as a full-time clerical 3 position in the Treasurer's Department, starting October 3rd. Sorry.
Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Trustee Favdor?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes.
Thank you. Action item F. So, currently, since we had a vacancy in one of the positions, and it was right at tax time, I know that Deputy Supervisor Vert and Treasurer Anderson and Controller Kevin McIntyre were desperate to get someone in to help collect taxes for tax day, tax season, and so there was an emergency hiring of a part-time person, and she's in the tax department right now, and we need to formalize that because only the board hires and fires. And so I'd like to have a motion to formalize that, and then also come October 3rd, I've talked with Madam Clerk, and you're gonna need more help in the election department, so she's gonna go from the tax department and work in your election department through elections?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's not busy. Yep.
So we can do this together or separately? What do we wanna do here? Together? Okay, so you wanna make the motion?
I make a motion to hire a permanent position, the tax department with a cross-training coming in.
It wouldn't be permanent, cause she's,
What's this temporary full-time position?
yeah,
for the
temporary,
tax department?
temporary full-time for the tax, and then switch over to you.
And switch over to the clerk's department when she's not busy.
Yeah, so she's gonna work just for you after October 3rd, right? Because Lisa will have her full-time person. Alrighty. And her,
I just want to be clear, this is through the elections, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I don't have her last name. Do you know Tara's last name?
Provost?
Oh, yeah.
Tara Provost.
With a V as in Victor?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
You might want to say until the election is certified, because there is a lot of work
Afterwards.
right afterwards.
Until the election is certified.
Also, she came in really quickly, and she's making, I think she's like at $15 an hour. And I know that that's what Taco Bell hires at. I would ask that as she comes into your department and does the work, that she would make what the other temporary, full-time person is making. Can we add that to the, motion?
Okay, we're doing temporary position for the tax department and crossover training for her in the clerk's department.
She'll come to the clerk's department October 3rd.
October the 3rd, and through the election year.
Yeah, and, she'll make what the girl,
And she'll make what the other part-time individual's making.
alrighty,
Who's second?
Which is what?
No one yet.
$18 per hour. So there's a motion. Is there a second to the motion? Support. Any questions or discussion on that? Yep. Hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Favdor?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Is that everyone?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Action item G, Chief Beckley.
Thank you. Attached, you'll find an updated version of our cost recovery fee schedule. This is just an update to update some of our inspection fees, simplify some things to better cover the cost of our personnel and apparatus going out and performing these inspections. So all that's really changed in there is our inspection fees. Everything else has remained the same as it was from the last version.
Alrighty, a motion would be in order to adopt the Flint Township Fire Department cost recovery fees.
We would move,
Updating them?
we would move to accept the cost recovery fee schedule presented by the chief in this evening's meeting.
Is there a second to the motion?
A second.
Any questions for Chief Beckley? Nope, hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call please on updating the Flint Township Fire Department cost recovery fees.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Clee?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Action item H would be to hire one full-time rental inspector. And I'll make the motion for that, to hire Dave Yeoman for cause employment to be paid $25 an hour with health care coverage, HCSP, and a DC retirement plan. He's trained and he's ready to start because he was working for us for several weeks. And that's my motion. Is there a second to the motion?
I have some discussion on that.
I'd like to get a second to the motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Now, go ahead, Carol.
Well, first of all, did we post this job?
We already had him working here. He was already interviewed and vetted by the McKenna company that we abruptly ceased our contract with.
Okay, well, I think we should still post it, even though he worked here, because he wasn't a Flint Township employee, he was McKenna. So I think we should still post it. And then it's my understanding that that's what was on the agenda from the last meeting. And by Robert's rules, we can't bring it back unless one of the board members that voted no request it to come back.
It's a different motion, so that doesn't apply.
Well, it says hire inspection for rental, hire inspectors for rental.
Right, that was two, this is one, it's a different motion.
But it's the same thing,
Okay,
whether
thank
it's
you.
one or two people.
Thank you, we're gonna keep it on. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
Well, pretty much what Carol was saying, I'm piggyback on that, but it's obvious there's not too much discussion that.
No,
Go
we
ahead
have an
on that.
ordinance for rental inspection.
Mhm.
We brought a company in.
Yeah, we're
We
aware of
hired
that.
them the beginning of June, and then before the end of June, 5 members of this board decided to get rid of them. We have to, I'm charged by law to make sure that our ordinances are enforced. At our last meeting, we hired a rental inspector. We have about 1,500 businesses. He does commercial inspections on the businesses. I looked it up, we have 4,178 rentals in the township. A part-time person cannot possibly do all the inspections on 4,178 homes. That doesn't include the 14 apartment complexes that require inspections. We have a letter from the chief endorsing a rental inspection program, and we've been stalled, and we desperately need to move forward on this.
The thing about it, Karen, is that we have people in place here that can actually do those inspections.
No, we do not.
Okay, and then you were saying given the medical, are we doing this immediate like you want to do the other hires? Or is this something that they have to wait like every other employee does?
That he would get whatever we give to the other non-union employees.
Immediately, or is that something he wait for?
If we wait for the others, I have to take a look and see if we waited for them or if it's immediate. He's gonna start as soon as he can. Any other questions?
Well, if we could do 2 part-time employees, it would help financially with the budget the way we are, that.
This isn't gonna hit the general fund budget, just like the fire marshal inspector, there's fees to cover his costs. We already have, money that has been collected for the applications on the rental inspections. This position's gonna be covered by the fees that we collect for the rentals inspections. It won't come from the general fund. So it's not a matter of being able to afford it or not, it's a matter of them doing the work and collecting the fees to cover the costs.
Was Marcus asked to see if he would be?
Yeah, I did ask Marcus, he does not wanna do this. He works in the assessment department.
Shouldn't you be talking about another employee
No,
and what they
right.
have to say? We can't
He
assume.
was asked, and he's not interested in doing it.
Well, I still feel it should be posted.
Okay.
I have a question
Go
in
ahead.
regards to, so if we put him in place, one of the things that I had requested the last time this came up was, yeah, I'm all in for this. It's all supportive of it. I've looked at the numbers. I see what we brought in ahead of time. and no, in a lack of, or in the nonsense of the word, there's X amount of dollars, in-house, not in a drawer, but I'm gonna say, in a drawer sitting here that has been paid for rental inspections that have not been able to be completed because those individuals that received letters responded, said, let's do this, I wanna have my place safe, I wanna make sure that the, whatever. But as you had stated, and I support in the fire department as well, but I'm gonna lean away and come back here and say, if we can do this, and I said it before, 120 days, September, October, November, December, for the balance of the year, and revisit it come January 2nd and see where it is. If the numbers are there, and we can look at it and say, okay, you're gonna be paid X amount of dollars per hour, we can help you out a little, win the system and how the system works for your medical and the other pieces, and that's not for us to discuss this evening, but if it works and after 120 days and it looks wonderful in that position, let's continue it on. If it doesn't work, we walk away, but yet we've still been able to utilize the dollars that have been brought in, and we've been able to get somebody out inspecting some of these places. We had an apartment fire a little bit ago. Not saying that we needed inspections there, but that smaller individual apartments, individual rental places are the kind of places that you hate to see an injury occur, as well as the larger ones, but we can get somebody on the street. That makes a huge difference. In that respect, I will be voting yes on this.
Any
With-
other discussion?
With the option that this goes till December 31st and revisit it.
Any other discussion?
So Tom, are you requesting that be put into the motion, that it's gonna be reviewed in 120 days?
I would be willing to say, if the supervisor would like to amend her motion to read that we revisit this January 2nd and see what our numbers were, what are the values were, and was it able to pay for itself?
Well, that's already been proven.
Right, but we gotta have it in writing. So, Madam Supervisor, I guess I would ask as Ms.
So yeah, we can revisit it.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other discussion?
I have a couple things.
Sure.
This is a really good program. Forget about McKenna, forget about that company. We had 2 individuals here that were trained, that this township board does not have money to train for weeks. It is very different, a rental inspection, versus just going out and get rid of your boat. Okay, code enforcement. It's very, very different. I personally have answered phone calls about people at Linden Lane about buckets of water in the hallway for weeks, and it's dripping. I personally do that. I personally went down and met those gentlemen and watched them work. I have personally watched them talk to residents. And if you want this community to thrive, you're gonna have to take that and make those inspections happen. We have an ordinance that says we have to do it. We have to. And you can't do it in part-time here. There's a lot of blight in this township, and one part-time person cannot handle it. And if you know what they do, as far as they go out and they have to okay, for instance, they had 2 dumpsters over in Little Missouri. It was an all-day job. That took our part-time code enforcement the entire day. While the calls kept coming in. We have more, we have this, we have that, you gotta check this, We need the work. And if we want to discover Flint Township, it has to be a nice, viable place, and it has to be clean. And this person is a really good person, and it started out with getting rid of them because somebody didn't like somebody. And I will tell you, that hurt, because I left high school a long time ago. So I will be voting yes on this, and we need more than one, and they're already trained, and they are very, very kind people. We have people coming in every day and ask for them. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm not against hiring an inspector, but I feel that we need to post it and find out who else is out there.
Well, if I may, this might give us the opportunity by going at least 120 days and getting this person on the street and making a difference.
Train them with what money?
And train them with what we have, making a difference on the street right now, and this individual may be able to help a second along the way come the 1st of 2023, unless there's somebody we can find that is qualified.
Well, I agree with the inspections. I mean, they should have been being done even prior to this, seeing that we do have these apartment buildings and people, we want people to be safe in the
We
town.
did have a full-time rental inspector. She became the treasurer. Marcia Benelli,
Oh,
It's true.
But,
That's true. That's true.
back in 2012.
we have, I mean, you said Marcus didn't want to do it?
Ms. Vert
Spoke with
stated the
him?
comment, we should not be speaking
making
about.
people,
yeah,
that's right.
Shouldn't be speaking about him.
So we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, roll call please on the motion.
Trustee Cleve?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Trustee Favdor?
No.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
And Clerk Triplett? No.
Motion passes. We'll go on to number 12. Our next meeting is October 3rd. And if there's no further business and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned.